Here is something totally ridiculous but not exactly unexpected. Thanks to the Steam Deck and SteamOS, the user share for Linux on Steam is currently at its highest point in about 5 years. I've been tracking this for some time now, and you can see here just how clearly things are moving upwards. That said, we are still talking about single-digit percentages, but the point does remain pretty clear, I think. I'm going to predict something now as well. I reckon that this time next year, I expect that the Linux share on Steam will overtake macOS thanks to the Steam Deck. And that is honestly something, before the deck came along, would be unimaginable. I've said for a very long time that Linux didn't need some fancy marketing, and it didn't matter how good the out-of-the-box experience was on various Linux distributions, because mostly people just don't install operating systems themselves, or bother to seek out alternatives. What Linux has always needed is more actual shipping products that people wanted to buy. The Steam Deck has 100% delivered on that. SteamOS with the Steam Deck is now one of the most used Linux distributions on Steam, making up 13.69% nice percent of the Linux user share. It's probably no surprise then that the most popular GPU currently being used on Linux is the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck GPU accounts for about 13.72% of Linux gamers on Steam, with the next most popular being the AMD Radeon RX 480 at only 4.81%. Now you might be wondering, how many people actually have a Steam Deck then? Well, that is very hard to accurately predict, and no one way of doing so will really give the true number. Now, you could estimate, based on the 132 million monthly active users that Valve mentioned back in March. When you split that down to Linux, that would be about 1.6 million monthly active, and then about 230,000 with a Steam Deck. There's multiple problems using in this way though, because the hardware survey is opt-in. We're using an older but last known count from Valve. It's also a secondary device for a lot of people who might do the survey on their desktop, and the list of issues with it goes on. The big question though is, where do we go from here? Well, thanks to the Steam Deck having a full Linux desktop mode with the KDE Plasma environment, many people are also seeing how just generally cool Linux is overall. And it wouldn't surprise me if more people were testing the waters and dipping their toes into it, perhaps with a dual boot on their desktop or laptop. Valve do keep saying they are going to release SteamOS 3 to the public as well, and perhaps that will be exactly what's been needed. Let me know in the comments what you think to all this. I'm really keen to hear a lot of your opinions on how everything is going about Linux on the desktop, if you've tried it, what you liked, what you didn't like. Let's have a chat. Thanks for listening as always, and I will catch you next time.